If you think the birds in your backyard are just living off the seeds you put out, well, get ready. Because during the summer, there's this hidden food web that unfolds, and it's so much more important than most of us ever realize. So what are they really eating? Let's dive in. I want to start with just a number, 9,000. Just let that sink in for a second. What on earth could that possibly mean for the birds in your backyard? Get this, that's how many caterpillars a single pair of chickadee parents needs to find to raise one family of babies. 9,000. That one fact right there completely flips how we should be thinking about our yards in the summer.
Okay, so let's pull back the curtain on this hidden world, because for our feathered friends, summer isn't about seeds. Nope, it's all about this massive dietary shift to fuel the next generation.
Here's the key. Almost all of them, we're talking over 95%, become what are called insectivores. Yeah, even the birds you see at your feeder all winter, they totally switch their diet. And why? It's simple, really. Baby birds can't digest seeds. They need soft, protein-packed fuel, and that can only come from insects.
And when we're talking about the perfect food for baby birds, there is one undisputed champion. One perfect little protein package that birds are just hardwired to find.
And check this out. This chart just says it all, doesn't it? Take the northern cardinal, a bird we all know and love. In the breeding season, its diet completely changes. A whopping 75% of what they're feeding their babies is caterpillars. That's not an accident. That is a deliberate choice for the perfect baby food.
So what's the big deal with caterpillars? Well, the ecologist Doug Tallamy just nails it here. Unlike a crunchy beetle or a spiky grasshopper, caterpillars are just perfect. They're soft, they're easy to stuff into a tiny mouth, and they're safe to swallow. They're basically little sausages with legs, the ideal meal.
And it's not just about being soft. They are absolute nutritional powerhouses. We're talking over 50% protein by weight, and they're jammed with calories. It's this perfect storm of high nutrition and physical safety that makes them the #1 go-to food for more than 100 different bird species trying to raise a family.
But of course, it's not only about caterpillars. A really healthy bird habitat is like a giant, sprawling buffet with a ton of different options on the menu. So, let's look at some of the other key players on the table.
You see, different insects play different roles. Caterpillars are the spring and early summer special, right? They show up just in time for nesting season. But beetles, they're the reliable, year-round staple. They're super important for adult birds and for specialists, like woodpeckers who can really dig in and get their larvae. It's like a rhythm. The soft baby food comes first, then the hard-shelled protein is there to keep the adults going all year.
And here's a wild fact for you. You think hummingbirds just sip on sugar water? Think again. A staggering 80% of a hummingbird's diet is actually spiders and other tiny insects. They absolutely need that protein. Your hummingbird feeder? That's just their energy drink. The spiders are the real meal.
And all this specialization is what makes a healthy ecosystem tick. You've got these incredible aerial acrobats like swallows just zipping through the air catching flies. Woodpeckers act like tree surgeons digging out larvae. Bluebirds patrol the lawn for grasshoppers. And warblers are meticulously picking caterpillars off every single leaf. Every bird has its job, and this amazing diversity is what makes the whole system work.
Okay, so knowing all this, the big question is, how can we help? And this is where it gets really cool and empowering. You don't need a huge piece of land. You can become a habitat hero right in your own yard.
And this right here is probably the most important thing to understand. The plants you choose matter more than anything. A native oak tree in your yard can support over 500 different species of caterpillars. 500. That non-native ornamental tree from halfway across the world, it might support 50 if you're lucky. The difference is just, it's not even close.
Which brings us to this really crucial idea of a food desert. You can have a yard that's packed with beautiful green, lush plants, but if they're not native, for the birds, it's a desert. It's like a grocery store with completely empty shelves. The birds show up, they see this gorgeous landscape, but there's nothing there for them to eat, nothing to feed their babies.
So what can you actually do? Well, it really boils down to 3 simple but super powerful things. Number 1, plant natives. They're the foundation of this entire food web. 2, ditch the pesticides. You wouldn't spray poison on the food in your fridge, right? So don't do it to the birds' food. And 3, learn to embrace a little bit of mess.
And what does a messy yard look like?
Well, it means leaving the leaves in the fall. That's where tons of insects spend the winter. It means letting old flower heads stand instead of cutting them down right away. A little pile of branches or an old log in the corner. That's not an eyesore. It's a 5-star hotel for all the critters the birds rely on.
You know, it's so easy to think that our own little patch of land doesn't really make a difference. But when we zoom out and look at the big picture, you'll see just how wrong that is. Your yard is a critical piece of a much, much bigger puzzle.
Take a look at this number, 400 to 500 million. Any guesses what that could be?
That is the estimated metric tons of insects that birds eat across the entire globe every single year. That's a mind-boggling amount of ecological work being done. Every single caterpillar or chickadee finds in your oak tree, every beetle a bluebird snags from your lawn, that is a tiny but crucial part of this massive, life-sustaining system.
So, the next time you look out your window, I want you to ask yourself this one simple question. Is your yard a food desert, or is it a thriving ecosystem? The choice and the incredible power to change it is all yours.